to the point.
Yeah.
But I sent you a little, I guess, GIF of
Yeah.
Guy Gardner
Mm-hmm.
in it, and he looks like a freaking nerd.
Yeah.
And he's played by Nathan Fillion. So, uh, which we don't get much out of that, but like Guy Gardner's a dick, right? So, uh, I'm just kind of wondering how I'm more interested in that
Uh-huh.
than Superman himself.
Yes, I know what you're saying. So when I saw that GIF and I was like, is this real or did somebody make this up? And then I actually watched the trailer because I hadn't seen the trailer yet. And then so I watched it and then I was like, oh my God, like that's really what he looks like. And I saw everybody commenting on it, like they were showing pictures of or GIFs of like Stuart from Mad TV.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
So it looks silly, and I'm interested to see where they're going with that because there's two pieces to this. Number one, everything else in the movie looks like it was ripped straight from the comics. There's a lot of loyalty there with the way everybody looks. Number two, Nathan Fillion is a great like comedic actor, and I could see him being kind of like the comic relief in there, and part of that being the way he looks too. And I could see them poking fun at it. I think it was intentional for him to look dorky. Regardless, I'm excited to see a Green Lantern in the movie.
Yeah, but maybe what they should have done instead of showing him. See, if it's intentional for him to look dorky, then don't put that out there because some people are just like it looks bad.
Yeah.
Do like a close up of like the ring.
Right.
You know, don't
Yeah.
you let too much out. I don't
think it was
have
intentional.
faith that it's supposed to look dorky. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's supposed to look dorky,
Yeah.
but I don't have faith that it's a joke until I see it because I've been disappointed by so many movies. I was going to say superhero movies, but movies in general lately. That I'm not going to go in going, oh, it's just a joke, and then go in there and I'm like, where's the joke?
Yeah.
And they took it totally serious.
I hear you. I have a lot of faith in James Gunn with his storytelling, so I think there's probably more there. I'm going to judge a book by its cover and say like he doesn't look great in the movie, but again, I think it is intentional. I'm not trying to defend it yet because I don't know more. But like I can't wait to see the movie. I am excited to see the movie. I like that Crypto's in it. I thought Nicholas Hoult looked really good as Lex Luthor. I thought they did a good job with like the way he looks. It much better than what's his face that was in Batman vs Superman. I can't remember his name. Anyways, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, who said that he thinks that ruined his career? I was reading something on that the other day. He said that like that ruined my career.
It was.
And you haven't really seen anything of him since, really.
No,
he's been in like some movies, but nothing big production.
It was done so poorly. Like, I don't know if it was the terrible writing, the directing, or his acting. It was one of those three, but it was not Lex Luthor by any means. I didn't like what they did with him. He was not the right casting choice for it. And I like the Snyder universe. I thought it was great, and I loved just about every second of it. But that was the one thing that, if I had to give like real criticism, that was probably the biggest thing that I disliked. But the new one, I mean, Nicholas Hoult looked pretty good as Lex Luthor. I mean, we saw glimpses of Hawkgirl. We saw Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background that we have no details on. He's fighting some kind of kaiju monster. So there's a lot that we just don't know from the teaser, obviously. But I think visually it looks great. So I guess they're going to have Supergirl in it, too. Because I was looking at the cast earlier, and Millie Alcock is in there.
Yeah. Well, wait, who's this? Who's the black dude?
The guy playing Mr. Terrific?
No.
Or Mr. Terrific?
Sorry, I'm like trying to look at stills.
Oh,
Maybe that's nobody.
yeah. Oh, Wendell Pierce is playing
Oh, Crypto the
Perry.
Superdog.
Yeah. Well, Wendell Pierce is playing Perry White, and I
I guess
like
the
him.
fact that Crypto the Superdog's in it makes it good.
Yeah. I do like so they are going with the concept that Superman is already an established hero at this point in the movie. Like, they're not doing an origin story. He's been fighting crime for a while now. So they're picking it up like after all of the origin story stuff. So, because I know James Gunn said he didn't want to do origin story with any of them. He wants to just dive right in, especially with the more known heroes. He's like, we don't need to see why Batman's Batman again. We don't need to see why Superman's Superman. Like, we know their stories and they want to dive right into it, which is great. I think that's awesome. Because it has been over. I mean, how many times have we seen, why is he Superman? Why is he Batman? We get it,
Okay, hold on. Frank Grillo is going to be Rick Flag Sr.
Correct.
I'm just looking through. Rachel Rosnahan is Lois.
Yep.
What else? Oh.
Well, and Frank Grillo is already voicing Rick Flag Sr. in the Creature Commandos TV show. And he's doing a great job, I think.
I haven't watched that yet. Why does it keep taking me back? I want to see. Okay. Millie Alcock is Kara.
Yep.
I thought Kara was supposed to be Mexican.
No, that was in the Snyder universe. Back when they did the Flash and everything,
I thought
she was.
Oh no, did they cancel that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I'm getting stuff.
No, they started a whole new universe now. So it's the Gunn universe. It's not the Snyderverse anymore.
Jimmy Olsen is Skylar Gazondo.
Who I like him. He's funny.
He's played in some other stuff.
He was in Vacation as the older brother. The new Vacation with
no one watched
Ed
that.
Helms.
I
watched it. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It was good.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, with Ed Helms.
Sean Gunn's in it.
Yeah, he's playing.
Sean Gunn plays two people in DC Universe now.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. There was one other one that I saw that was Alan Tudyk is playing multiple characters and mostly like voice acting for him though. He's going to be Clayface in the new Batman movie.
Anthony Kerrigan. So he was in the what's that show? Barry.
Oh, I never watched that yet. I keep forgetting.
Hilarious. He's very much a creepy looking dude, but he's hilarious. I haven't seen Barry yet. I keep being told to watch it, and I keep forgetting every time. I'm like, what show do I want to start now? For some reason, I just keep telling myself. Barry.
I've heard it's so good.
That was really good.
Yeah.
He's like the spy that just wants to like live a normal life.
Yeah. Well, or
not a spy, assassin.
Assassin, yeah. So there's a lot of actors in the Superman movie that I don't really know. And I don't know if it's just my age and they're in other stuff that's for younger people or what, or if they intentionally chose lesser known actors. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I mean, even this David Cornswell, like, there's nothing that he's been in that I've really seen.
Well, I mean,
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I kind of, I don't even like how Disney's reusing Robert Downey Jr. I don't like that.
No.
I mean, so I'm great with like getting new people in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, because Christopher Reeves was pretty much a fresh face.
He was
when he originally did Superman.
Well, and I'm trying not to judge casting choices because I'm always wrong when it comes to these things, like especially with the superhero movies.
Because I went and watched Beef and Boards. It's this kind of Broadway in Indianapolis. Okay. But you get a buffet beforehand. And I went there today. And it was great. But nobody looked like anybody. And so I was kind of disappointed in that. The kid, And like it was good because all the kids were singing stuff. They're like 10, 11-year-old kids, and
Yeah.
it was really cool. And but it's like you look nothing like Ralphie,
Yeah.
So took me out of it. But
Oh,
also
okay.
there was a lot of other things where they just kind of added stuff that was weird.
Sure.
But like I guess if you look at though, and I want to get Showtime for this, the new Dexter prequel.
Yes, I do want to watch that.
Everybody looks really good, like
Yes.
the characters, like a younger version of the characters in that.
I saw that and I was very impressed by what they did with it. I want to watch the show. Like, I know you texted me earlier, you want to get like Showtime for a month just to watch it. And I'm kind of down to do that too. That's what I'm really thinking about doing. I'm like, I just got to make sure I watch it all within the month. But because Dexter was one of my favorite shows they ever released. And I don't think I saw the renewed one. I don't even know if it came out.
There was wasn't there like one season
Yeah.
where he was like off in the snow or something like that?
Yeah. Well, it went down. So the show itself, Dexter went downhill probably after the 4th season, maybe even before that. After the Trinity Killer, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as it was after John Lithgow was the killer. I think it was 4th season.
Was amazing in that.
He was the best. He doesn't get enough credit. John Lithgow is so good.
Yeah, he's got to be one of the greatest actors of my lifetime. Like, he doesn't get enough credit.
Like, he was great in the Twilight movie, or the Twilight Zone movie. Sorry, not Twilight movie. Twilight Zone.
My wife's watching Twilight. She thinks that's a Christmas movie.
Twilight Zone movie, because they did the movie. Dan Aykroyd was in that too, but he was the one where they did the gremlin on the plane. Huh?
In Twilight?
Yeah, in Twilight. Big fan. But no, John Lithgow he was amazing in that season of Dexter as the serial killer. Spoiler alert. He was like just so ruthless. Like, he was one of the worst ones that he went up against for sure.
So I'm trying to think of the character's name. The person they got to play, what's the like Cuban dude's name?
Oh, Angel?
Angel looks just like him.
Yes. I saw that. I was blown away. I was like, they found somebody to look, it's legit. It looks really good.
Like, I seriously want to see this. And Christina Million's in it. I used to have a crush on her.
Yeah.
And McSteamy's in it. Sarah Michelle Gellar's in it.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar's in it. God, I'm trying to think of, and I guess that Michael C. Hall is still voicing the narration for it. So I think it's something like he's talking about his childhood.
I'm sure he's a producer in it or something.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like what he's best known for. Like, what has he really done outside of Dexter? Like, he was in Gamer, where he was the bad guy. That was the one with not Russell Crowe. Who's the other guy that looks like Russell Crowe? Gerard Butler.
Well, I was watching this video of him. Like, I guess he used to be on Broadway.
Oh, really?
And because, like, in Dexter, it's like he doesn't have a personality.
No.
So, like, it's very monotone, and there's no, there's no expressions to him.
By design.
So, yeah, I know. But it's almost like, but, like, I seen him in, on this Broadway, and he was on, like, the Macy's Day Parade or whatever, or Thanksgiving Parade or whatever, and he was full of spunk. Like, that's a different person. He was singing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. God, I wish I could go back and watch Dexter. I wish I had the time to go back and watch Dexter. I got so many new shows I got to watch.
Yeah, Dexter was great, and shows about serial killers are awesome.
They are.
But
really good.
I mean, they're renewing they're rebooting a bunch of stuff. We talked about that. Scrubs.
Yes, I'm excited about Scrubs. One of my favorite shows of all time.
In the Middle.
Uh-huh. And all the original cast are coming back for both those shows.
Right. which I'm actually excited about Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes.
I'm very interested in seeing like how they are as adults, you know, and yeah, everybody's going to be there.
Yeah, and that show stayed golden through its entire run. Like, and the thing I always loved, and I think we've talked about this on previous episodes, the thing I always loved about Malcolm in the Middle was that the brothers all had different personalities. They were not like the same. Like, they could have easily been like, oh, we're all the same with this, but they all had their own different quirks and everything. Dewey slowly becomes your favorite in that show. But they had some legendary people on there. You know, Cloris Leachman was on there as the grandma. You also had Kenneth Mars as the ranch owner. And I love Kenneth Mars. He's one of the funniest people that ever lived. God, who else? B. Arthur was in there for a little bit. I couldn't even name all the people. I just remember it was such a great show and so cleverly written.
So I just read, because I was looking at, because I knew there was more.
Yeah.
There's a new Married with Children reboot coming with all the original cast called Still Married.
Really? You can't make that show anymore, though.
I know that, but like I'm thinking like Al Bundy's like Zabka, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just like just making comments about like a transgender person or something like that. Like,
yeah.
Like maybe he's like selling shoes and like a transgender person.
Yeah. Well, that's how shows get away with it now, is that they'll take somebody from the boomer generation and be like, well, he's old. It's okay. It was from his generation. That's how they sell that. But you can't have the younger characters doing that, because then it's like, we're intentionally writing this to be wrong. You know, but they can do it with the old, like they did that with Chevy Chase in Community. They always had him saying like the most off-put, like racist things and not understanding why it was wrong. I could see them doing that with Al Bundy. I love watching clips from Married with Children with him in it. It was so funny. That show was ahead of its time. And I know that it was very popular, but I also know that the FCC hated it.
Yeah, I loved it. Al Bundy and Homer Simpson raised me. Apparently Who's the Boss is getting a remake or reboot with Tony Danza and Alyssa Milano.
I was just thinking, so one of my favorite jokes that I always see pop up on my Facebook with Al Bundy is he says something to this like larger lady in the shoe store, and he's like, "Oh, you can't say that to my face." And he's like, "Well, I'd say it to your back, but I've only got a half tank of gas."
Yeah. Like you can't make those, because that was like half the show is him making big woman jokes.
Yeah. Just making jokes about women in general.
Yeah, or he can't read Biggins.
Yeah, Biggins.
Go to the nudie bar.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's pretty sad that like they can't come up with anything good these days though.
No.
I was trying, like, in between sessions, I was looking for like a half an hour show, and there's nothing. I did watch episode 1 of the new what's that one with the therapist? Shrink.
Yeah.
Shrunk, something
Shrink.
like that. I did watch episode 1 of that. It wasn't as good as the first season so far, so
I'm about halfway. I think I still got a couple episodes to watch on that to be caught up. I think it's a pretty good show.
I'm offended by
it. Sure. As not a therapist, I think the show's hilarious.
Yes, but like...
But I also recognize...
he would not be able to let a patient stay at his house.
Yeah. No, I recognize that that it's problematic if you're a therapist. I recognize that.
But like his boss knows.
Yeah.
And they act like it's not a big deal. It's like, no, you wouldn't do that.
Well, I do like Harrison Ford in that role, though. He's really funny. So, my two favorites, and we're going to talk about, the character, Derek. Derek is my favorite character on that show in reality. He is the funniest. And that was Darcy's husband. Yeah, Jefferson. that so he was on Married with Children, and I didn't realize it at first. I was like looking him up. I'm like, he looks so familiar, and then I like had to look it up, and I was like, oh my god. I mean, he's 40 years older.
You never seen Revenge of the Nerds?
Oh yeah, no, I've seen Revenge of the Nerds. Revenge of the Nerds. He was in Wayne's World 2 for a brief second, but he's like my favorite character in that show. One of my favorite scenes that he's done so far. It was like in episode 2 or 3 when they were talking to the neighbor, like Pam or whatever. They're like outside talking to her, and he drives up and he's like, oh hey, hey Pam, and then Christina Miller looks at him. She's like, no, we hate Pam. He's like, oh okay, suck a dick, Pam. Drives off.
Yeah,
he's so funny. Just like his dry delivery on everything is so good, but he's always smiling.
Yeah.
So, what was the other one? Jason Segel he's like out on his balcony, and Derek tells him something, and he's like, I'd really appreciate it if you stopped looking in my windows. And Derek looks at me like, not a chance, buddy.
Right.
Like, just doesn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was surprised by Harrison Ford's comedic timing in that show.
Oh yeah. I think he looks happy that Han Solo's dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
He's free.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Shrinking. That's a fun show to watch. I guess as long as you're not a therapist.
Well, I like it.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm watching it going, no, this is just like suspension of belief.
Yeah.
Because like nobody's like anxious about it. They're just like, yeah. Patients staying in my guest house, beach house.
Yeah.
And they act like therapists are rich.
Yeah.
They act like they've got a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know where you're getting this money at. They tend to think therapists are medical doctors a lot.
Yeah.
Therapists do not prescribe medications.
Nope.
Psychiatrist does that. And psychiatrists make like $300 a session. I make between $40 and $120 a session.
Right.
Which, wasn't bad, but
no,
I'm not rich.
Yeah.
I can make an okay living.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am one of the things I'm excited about with the Scrubs reunion. So I said Scrubs is one of my favorite shows. I just want to see the interactions between Bob Kelso and Dr. Cox again. I want to see those interactions because those were some of the best moments in the show.
Dr. Cox going to be in it? Is Kelso going to be in it?
They said all of them are returning. I know that the actor is much older now. I don't know if he'll show up. He was old
back then.
I don't know if he's going to show up in that one because that's,
Yeah, I doubt. When they say all the actors, I doubt they mean everybody.
Yeah, but I'll see. John C. McGinley will show up. Because that role was written for him.
Well, what's his name? Franco show up?
Oh, Dave Franco from season 9. I want to know
what happened with the reboot, because I actually like that.
I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty decent. I didn't know who Dave Franco was. I was like, at the time, I didn't know him at all.
Bodies.
Was he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. At the time, I didn't know him at all, and I was just like, his character's such a douche. Like, I hated him.
I know, he's hilarious. He was my favorite character in that.
Yeah.
He's cracking me up.
There was there were some good characters in it. There were some funny moments. But Dave Franco, he became a favorite of mine very quickly after that. He was in a short-lived series that was on Yahoo TV, whatever they called it. And it was called what was it called? Other Space. It was called Other Space. And it was like a space crew in the future end up in another universe and everything, and it's their adventure. It was a comedy, and it was so goddamn funny. I thought it was hilarious. So Dave Franco shows up in one episode, and he's actually an alien life form, and they don't realize that they don't know who he is because he did some kind of mind thing to them. But he only knows how to talk in Matthew McConaughey lines from movies. So that's all he's doing the whole time. Show was ridiculous.
I'm watching this video. It's a great concept. So if you can go back and revisit
Mhm.
like a game to see who's still playing it. Like people fighting in it and stuff like co-op and stuff like that. Like not co-op, battle royals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What game would you play? Or what game would you check out? Like an old Call of Duty or something like that.
Oh. I probably Alien vs. Predator 2, because that was like the first like multiplayer shooter game I ever played. I mean, aside from GoldenEye.
This is a good concept. Just going back to these games and seeing if anybody's still playing them. And like, there's nobody so this dude's going back and he's into these games and like nobody's there.
So actually over the summer, me and my buddy Chris, we were talking about how we were disappointed nobody's made a game like Star Wars Galaxies since that one shut down, I think like 2013, 2014. But it was a fun game that we played in high school a lot. And we were like, man, I wish somebody had made those games. And I was like looking it up to find something like that. And it turns out there's coders who have revamped the game, and there's like several different iterations of it. They basically brought it back to life. So it exists still, and I found it. And so we were playing that for a long time. And it's just basically living in the Star Wars universe, just doing whatever the hell you wanted to. So it was funny because I found out that they did that, and then I found they did it with a bunch of other games. City of Heroes, Champions Online. We played that one for a while, me and you. There was a few different games that they revamped, mostly like the online multiplayer ones. And I was like excited to find this out. The Champions Online one, from what I read, like it was underground for a really long time. And then the developers found out they were doing it, and they were like, hey, keep it going. We love it. We love that you're playing our game. So there's like some of these games that like are not on servers anymore, but they've been revamped. They've been revitalized.
Looks like it's still Champions Online still going.
Yeah. So that's it was the reboot of the game. Like the fans found it and they were able to take the code and like remake the game basically.
New content.
Yeah. They're adding content.
Yeah, this says it's not dead.
Uh-huh. Well, but it's not done by the developers anymore. It's all fan driven.
They should remake it.
Yeah. Well, that server I think that server shut down
that.
Yeah. Well, that was because
it was make your own superhero and stuff.
It was, and you could basically, I think they got sued a couple of times because you could make any superhero you wanted to, and everybody was copying what already existed. But that was part of the fun of it.
I think I just made my own.
I think you made the Hulk.
Well, I think I made a couple characters.
You did. I had like a Deadpool-like character. I was teleporting all over the place and just like hitting people with swords. That was a fun game. I really liked that one.
City of Heroes.
I played that one for a while. Not as good as Champions.
Okay. Well, we need I don't know. I'm not a big fan of mass multiplayer. Well, it's mostly because I have no friends.
Well, that's it. I play a lot of these games online by myself, and it's fine when I jump into a group, but I don't want to talk to them.
Right. And I did do that before. What game was it with Elder Scrolls or something like that?
Elder Scrolls Online.
Talk to me.
Yeah, they were doing that a lot in that game, and I didn't like it. I was like,
I thought it was somebody I knew, though. I think I might have thought it was you or something. Like people invited me to join their guild, and I thought it was somebody I knew. And I'm like, hey, what's up, guy? Thinking I was talking to somebody I know.
Yeah.
Because the Elder Scrolls kind of got boring because you need people to play with.
Yeah.
Because the bosses get harder.
Yeah, I go back and play it once in a while. I have it on my desktop. They actually did a pretty good job with the game. There's one part that I love the most out of this game because it was a very I'll call it a unique concept because I hadn't seen it anywhere else. But like, so you're leveling up your player in the actual game. You're running through the story in the world, blah, blah, blah. When you get to level 10, you're able to go into the battle for the Elder Scrolls. And what that is, they put you on a battlefield against other factions and you're sieging castles. Like, so as you kill things, you're getting coins, you can make trebuchets and stuff, and you can siege castles and then just raid them with like large groups of people. So you would have like 100 people raiding this castle. Like you'd find a break in the wall and you go and, you know, do whatever, and you'd take control of it. So it was just kind of controlling the map. And it was a really cool concept. I wish they would do something more like that.
Mm-hmm. I want to play this new Indiana Jones game.
I saw that. I want to play that too. They've always had some pretty good games. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to be on sale. Sometimes they have those sales on the New Year's.
Yeah. That one looks pretty good. What's the one? I'm playing Once Human right now, which is free, FYI, on Steam. That's a multiplayer online game, but it's survival crafting along with it's kind of a Lovecraftian environment. It's a bunch of monsters and demons and stuff running around. You just make your little base, but you have little helpers on your base that can do things like they'll mine for you. They'll find crafting items. They'll help you defend it. You can do like a little horde mode thing, which is cool. But it's a fun game. I put a lot of hours into that one.
I'm finally playing Elden Ring.
I hear that one's good. I never played it.
Yeah, I beat a couple bosses, but it's like I'm in like a stage where I have to grind.
Yeah.
To level up and stuff. I'm like I call myself a ninja. I'm like a ninja.
Yeah.
I sneak around and I throw knives and stuff, and I have double blades.
Nice.
I do want to. Well, game I do want to play. It's the reboot of Silent Hill 2.
Yes, I want to play that.
I want to get that, and I'll play the shit out of that.
The first Silent Hill game I ever played was Silent Hill 3, and I love that
remasters of Soul Reaver.
That was a good game. I like that one.
Yeah, that was good.
You remember back when I think it was back when we lived together, you got Dark Souls?
Uh-huh.
I remember how pissed off you were at that fucking game.
That game's pissed. That game is bullshit.
You were getting so fucking mad because they make the game intentionally hard. If you're listening, you've never played the game, it is one of the most challenging games you'll ever play because basically you die, you go back to the beginning and everything resets. It's one of the hardest games they've ever made, and it was made to be frustrating. And the first time I saw Rick play that, and he get like past one or two skeletons, get killed, get sent back to the beginning. He'd have to fight the same two skeletons. He'd get a little farther each time, but just like, I just remember you cursing at that game.
Because I never understood the concept, and Elder Scrolls is the same concept.
Yeah.
But you gotta keep leveling up.
Right.
And then get farther.
Yeah, I like Dark Souls. I haven't played that in a long time.
Oh, I got the remastered one on my Switch that I don't play.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
Yeah, I haven't been really playing too much, but it's also the holiday season. I've had all kinds of stuff going on, so.
I haven't played all year, and then I just picked up Elden Ring and started playing the shit out of that, and yeah, it's pretty good. It's it's a great great role playing game. Something that I needed. Yeah, but there are like I'm saying I want to play these other games, but then it'll take me away from from that.
I know. Me and my brother got each other Enshrouded for Christmas, which is another survival crafting game. It's kind of medieval and stuff. It's got a lot of you can tell there's a lot of inspiration from games like Zelda. Because you've got your glider, you've got your grappling hook, and you're going through this like big world and everything, fighting monsters. It's a pretty good game. I've got maybe 4 or 5 hours into it at this point, but yeah, it's a funny story. I was playing 7 Days to Die with my brother and his friends yesterday, which we play every week, and I looked at how many hours I've played that game. I've played it 388 hours. That's how much I've played that fucking game. It's insane.
Nice.
Yeah.
There is Dragon Age Inquisition. It's on sale for $6. But I want to look at EA Play. Apparently, you can play it all you want in EA Play. I got the Ubisoft Online, Ubisoft Plus.
Yeah.
I think I'm just wasting money on it because I never play it. But I bought it I got it so I could try the Star Wars.
The Outlaws.
And I'm finding that to be kind of boring.
Yeah.
So I got to decide if I want to keep playing, if I want to, keep that. But let me see how much this. $39 a year? Oh, that ain't bad.
No.
$40 a year. Get access to popular games. So you got the Madden, Star Wars Squadron, Battlefront 2.
Star Wars Squadron was good, and you've got VR. Play it on there. It's awesome.
Okay. Dragon Age Inquisition, Sims 4. There's not that many games, though.
No.
Dead Space.
I've been going on to Epic Games a lot lately and looking at their games. There's not as much of a selection as Steam, but I think the quality of some of their games.
Play.
Huh?
You can play all the Dragon Ages on there.
Yeah.
And all the Mass Effects.
Oh, I do like the Mass Effect games. I have all of them somewhere.
Well, I wanted to go back and play all the Dead Spaces.
Yeah.
Like a horror space game.
Yeah. I played a little bit of that. It was good.
It was pretty good.
Pretty gruesome.
So, okay, there's more games than I thought. A lot of old school games, which I don't mind that.
Well, speaking of games, so we were talking last week about Secret Level, which is the new show on Amazon that I wanted to check out. I didn't realize it was out already, so I was able to watch a few episodes, and it's an anthology series. The ones I did watch, I watched Warhammer 40,000. That was a really good one, but I was always a big Warhammer fan. I don't know if you were ever into that. No. Yeah. So I used to play it. Me and my brother used to play it a lot as kids. So it was kind of like Dungeons and Dragons. You built your models, painted them, did whatever, and you did battles and scenarios. It was fun. But they had a lot of different video games for it that were really cool. They haven't done, I know Henry Cavill's in the actual show that will be on Amazon, the live action show. But the Warhammer one on Secret Levels was really good. And it was pretty badass. I watched the Mega Man one, which was really, really short and kind of left me wanting more. And I hope they do more if they do more seasons. The one that was strange that I watched was Pac-Man. So it was not what I expected. It was weird. This one was weird. And so the guys who make Secret Level, I was telling you about this before we started. They're the same guys who do Love, Death, and Robots. And if you've ever seen that show, it's all different kinds of animation, just like stories, shorts, like 10-minute episodes, or 10-minute stories, I should say. So watching the Pac-Man one showed me, that was what made me inquire into whether this was done by those same guys, because it was just as strange as some of the videos they've made or some of the episodes they made. But like the concept was there was like a little Pac-Man ball thing, and this like clone or something comes out of this tube, and it's like, hey, you've got to fight through the desert. There's ghosts out there, blah, blah, blah. And he's got a sword. He's fighting, eating, doing whatever. And it's just like a human guy like running through. And then at the end of it, like, you find out the little orb thing's trying to get out of this maze and tries to like kill him. It was very, very strange. I watch it because you'll see what I'm talking about. Right now, it sounds like a mess of whatever the hell I'm trying to describe. But it was good. So I like it. And you should definitely check it out. I think I started watching the Dungeons and Dragons one, but I didn't get very far into it.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to check that out. I did like the robots one, Love and the Robots or whatever.
Yeah.
It's called.
Yeah, Love, Death, and Robots. Most of them were just horror stories.
No, some of them. Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Basically,
some of them were
animated Black Mirror.
Yeah, there were some that were ripped straight from like Twilight Zone. Because there was one with Topher Grace and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, where they were their human characters. They were their human. They were human. They weren't animation, but they like open a freezer and there was something growing in there, and it turns into a little colony and everything. Which was a Twilight Zone episode. It was also a Simpsons episode.
Well, currently the original Witcher is on sale for like $1.50.
Oh, really? I can afford that.
They did have the trailer for the new Witcher.
Oh, they did? I didn't see that.
Siri is going to be, the Witcher 2 is $3. I might get them both. Just because I want to see the whole story.
Yeah.
So the new one is starring Siri.
I saw that.
I mean, of course, some people are in uproar about that, but it's like, if you're in an uproar about that, you obviously didn't play Witcher 3, because almost like in Witcher 3, they were kind of setting her up.
Yeah. But she's a main part to the story. Like, it only makes sense that it continues on. The story's always kind of been about Siri.
Well, it always seemed like she was going to be kind of the next person. So
I'm pretty sure that's where the books went too. I never read the books, but I'm pretty sure the books have gone in that direction as well.
And she looks pretty good in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I still never watched season 3 of The Witcher on Netflix. I heard it was okay.
The newer one?
Yeah.
Or is it I never watched either.
The last one with Henry Cavill. I never watched it. Well, they kind of like snuck it out there.
No,
because I remember.
I watched all 3 of them.
Did you?
I didn't watch wasn't there a reboot? Or not a reboot. They had a new Witcher.
Yeah, it's Liam Hemsworth, I think.
Yeah, I didn't watch that.
Did that even come out yet?
I don't know.
Yeah. So
I thought that's what you're talking about.
No, season 3 with Henry Cavill. I didn't watch that one, but they kind of snuck it out, and I've been meaning to go back and check that out.
I think it went off the rails, and Henry Cavill was right. You got to respect him. I don't know why they don't listen to real nerds, but
yeah, and he is one. He's a huge one. Well, he's going to star in the new Warhammer show, which I'm very excited for. Now, I know with that show, they said that I think they just finished like the storyline for it. They haven't even written a script yet, so it's going to be a long time before we see it. But I could see them doing some pretty great things. A lot of good stuff has come from Amazon, TV show wise, with the exception of Halo, obviously, which I never even watched. I just heard how bad it was.
So I watched Carry On, which is new on Netflix. They've been advertising it like crazy. Mm-hmm. Jason Bateman, Taron Egerton, Sophia Carson, who was so when your daughter gets old enough, she'll watch the Descendants, and the Descendants is like all the Disney characters, like I don't know what's the squid lady in The Little Mermaid?
Ursula.
Ursula, like her daughter, like it's all the kids of the characters.
Huh.
And so yeah, this one, Sophia Carson, she's like the fiance in this. Theo Rossi, he is sneaky good. He's a sneaky good actor. He was in Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
But yeah, Jason Bateman, it's kind of hard to see him as like a bad guy.
Right.
But I thought the movie was decent, but then went off the rails like towards the end. Is the suspension of belief. Like nothing, it started to get to the point where nothing made sense. But I just don't understand how you go from Elton John to playing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. but it's not a Christmas movie.
Uh-huh.
They're trying to act like it's a Christmas movie. It's on Christmas Eve, but there's no Christmas lights up. There's no Christmas tree. It's not like Die Hard. Not even like Die Hard 2.
No.
I don't even know if there's any snow in it. So, but it had a great concept, though. So I would recommend watching it, but just because it's like a new action movie that we don't get these days. We don't get like good action movies like this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kind of thriller type of movies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was one I kept seeing the ads for it, so I kind of want to check it out because I love Jason Bateman and Taron Egerton. Both of them are very good actors. So I could see that movie being very entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, I was entertained by it, so I guess that's all you need.
Right. That's how I judge movies.
I'd give it maybe a 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe a 6.5, 7.
I could watch a 7. Could do that. 6. I could even do 6.5. I would do it too, but I mean, I've seen shitty movies. I don't really care. It's all about whether. Well, speaking of, I mean, so I watched the movie and I was kind of telling you about it. I didn't really tell you anything. I just said I watched it. Meet Me Next Christmas, which is a new movie on Netflix. The reason I watched this movie, so I told you last week I went and saw I saw Pentatonics in concert at the Allstate Arena in Rosemont. Phenomenal show. Amazing. Me and my wife went to go see it. It was so good. But they mentioned that they were in this movie. And my wife was like, I really want to see it. I'm like, great, we can watch it this weekend. The premise of the movie is this woman, her flight gets delayed. She meets this guy at the airport lounge. They kind of hit it off, but she's dating someone. So and the guy's like, well, listen, he's like, I had a good conversation. If you really want to, if anything changes with your boyfriend, I'll meet you next Christmas at the Pentatonics concert. Because that was the whole thing, was Pentatonics was behind a lot of it. So, of course, next Christmas rolls around, it's a year later, and she catches her boyfriend cheating on her, and she decides, okay, I'm going to go find this guy and I'm going to go meet him. But it's the one year she didn't buy tickets to the Pentatonics concert. So the whole movie is about her trying to find a ticket to it. The guy who's helping her, she ends up falling in love with, blah, blah, blah. It was a cute movie if you're looking for something a little bit more on the romantic side for a Christmas movie. If that's just not your jam, then it's probably not for you. But I liked, it was fun seeing like the Pentatonics, crew in there. So that's the only like real new movie I watched. The other thing I watched though was Gremlins.
Did you watch Dead End?
I love Gremlins. No, what's Dead End?
I sent you that one.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
So I would suggest watching this.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is a Christmas movie. And not really a happy Christmas movie. It's a horror Christmas movie. And so they're going to their mom, the grandma's house, the wife's mom's house.
Yeah.
And they're on this road, but the road doesn't end.
Oh yeah, I watched the trailer for this. Okay, I had to refresh my memory.
And then like every time they stop, something bad happens.
Yeah.
And the acting is terrible. But, it's a B movie horror movie.
Mm-hmm. It's got Ray Wise in it, though.
People that I know, I just know the one lady from there was the landlord in what's that movie? Munson.
Munson, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Kingpin.
Yes.
Yeah, she was the landlord in Kingpin. So she's the wife in it.
Yeah,
Lynch. Like I've seen in 100 things.
Oh yeah, that's Ray Wise. He was in a Reaper. He was the devil.
Yeah.
He was so good in that.
But
he was also Robin's dad in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. So this movie is definitely a must watch if you want to watch like a horror Christmas movie that gives you kind of an uneasy feeling. It came out like 2004.
Yeah. Remember you telling me it's an older movie.
I have questions about the ending. I have a lot of questions about the ending. That's why I was asking if you've seen it, so I could talk about that. But
no, I'll watch it. My my wife's out of town this weekend, and so that means I can watch some movies that she wouldn't really be into. Watch them while I wrap some Christmas presents. I'll put that one on my list. I'm going to watch that. And I'm going to watch Violent Night finally because I have not seen that movie yet.
Oh, greatest!
I know. I hear it's so good, but I just haven't had time to watch it. I got my daughter into watching Gremlins, though, like I was saying. So, and I was actually surprised she handled it well. But I think because we watched enough of the Muppets now, she can kind of identify like those are puppets. But
when I watched which Indiana Jones had the Nazis? Is that Raiders?
Like 3 of them.
Yeah,
Raiders had them. Melts. Oh yeah, that was Raiders.
Yeah. When my daughter's seen that, she goes, and she had to be like 6 or 7. She goes, that was pathetic.
Yeah. Well, we were watching, and then like when the part came where Stripe gets hit by the sun and starts melting, I covered her eyes. I'm like, you don't need to watch this because I want to watch this movie again someday. So but it's, she was kind of laughing at the Gremlins and what they were doing. And I'm like, oh, they're just little mischief makers. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a classic 80s movie. Okay. But then I watched the second one and I was like, this is much worse than I remember it.
The second one?
Yeah.
It's terrible. But I love
God.
it.
I still love it. I'd watch it again. But for some reason, and maybe it was just the kid in me, like, I remember it being much better than what it was.
Well, there was a lot going on. Of course, it was great for a kid. Like all the Gremlins had like different like attributes and powers and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and the one that he sings "New York, New York" at the end, and like just there's so many good bits in there with what they did. But it was not a good movie. Like it was very poorly. But Hulk Hogan's in it. It became
Hulk
very.
Hogan's in it.
The movie itself was very meta. But yeah, Hulk Hogan was in it. And like, so my wife had come home. I think she was out. She came home and we were watching Gremlins 2. And like that part came up with Hulk Hogan. She's like, is Hulk Hogan in this movie? I'm like, yeah, he's in there. And she was very confused by the whole thing. And she was like, I don't get it. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it. You have to see the movie.
Well, I mean, even if you watch the movie, it don't make sense, but that...
No.
Nothing makes sense in the movie.
No, it doesn't. But you know what? All the actors that are in it are like, because I know more of them now than when I was a kid, and it's probably been 20 years since I had seen it. But you've got Christopher Lee was in that movie. Fucking Saruman. You had John Glover. You had I can't remember his first name, Picardo, who was like the medical guy in Star Trek Voyager. There was a bunch of other big names that were in that movie. It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch, just like see some of those actors who, I mean, obviously this movie came out in 91 or 92, being like that much younger,
Sorry, I've had a long week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I don't know. I watched it a couple years ago, and I don't know. I thought it was a serious movie.
The first one is just such a different tone than the second one.
It is. But when that one came out like years after that, because the first one came out in like 85, and that one came out like 92 or 93 or something like that.
There was a long gap in between them, and they're doing a third one.
Well, they've been having The Secret of Mogwai on Max,
I know.
I watched the first season, which was really good. The second season's out. I still got to watch that.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to my daughter about it because she loves Gizmo now. And I told her, I was like, there's a cartoon. She wants to watch it. So we're going to find some time to sit down and watch that together. Because you recommended the show to me a couple of times, and I haven't taken the time to watch it.
The animation, especially when they get to, it really expands like the fantasy of the universe.
Yeah.
And I thought the colors palette that they used was fantastic. Like, I don't know. It was just very appealing to me.
Sure. Yeah, that's it. It looks like it was pretty good. I want to. I'll eventually get to it, and maybe this weekend we'll have some time to watch that because now she keeps asking me to watch the
more
Gremlins.
Time in the Mogwai village.
Yeah,
you spend like 2 seconds there.
Oh, really? I thought it was going to be mostly about that.
No. So basically, it starts out in the Mogwai village, but then Gizmo gets lost.
No.
Gets taken,
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too much away. So the idea is he's never going back.
Yeah.
I would assume. Unless they do take it back. But, like, he's away from home now.
Yeah. Huh. Well, you would think with Secrets of the Mogwai, they would spend some time with all the Mogwai.
But, it would be nice if, like, in the new, like, okay, now we're in the future, in the present, and he, like, went back now. And it's like, Mom! But, like, he doesn't know where that's at.
No.
So it'd be impossible to find. But
well, and you bring this up all the time with the first Gremlins movie, but the mom, how much of a badass she is.
Oh, she is the biggest badass of any movie.
She kills like 4 gremlins.
She's the only one that kills any of them.
Yeah. She is. She kills like 4 gremlins right off the bat.
She like threw one in a blender.
Yeah. She's like, I don't even know what this thing is, but I'm gonna kill it. Like she put one in a blender, she put one in a microwave, she stabbed another one. Like, she was a real badass. Like, good for you.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. Nobody talks about that.
No, because you just don't think about it. Like, they're going around terrorizing everybody, and she's sitting there holding her own against multiple gremlins.
Yeah. And the gremlins are these little monsters. Like,
yeah.
This was I don't know if it was supposed to be a horror. It was like a comedy horror, I guess.
Originally, it was supposed to be a horror movie, and then they made it a comedy horror.
I mean, I was watching it since it came out. So, but...
And it's a Spielberg production, too.
I guess it would have to be a comedy horror. They do a bunch of stupid stuff in it, still.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the second one's a different tone, but they still do, like, the Snow White and the Seven Dwarves.
Yeah, and when they're singing in the theater.
Singing their Christmas caroling and stuff like that. So they still do a bunch of stupid, funny stuff with it.
They do, and that's one of my favorite parts is when the crotchety old lady is like, these carolers. She opens the door and they're all just sitting there singing like they're carolers dressed up.
Yeah,
and then she goes back inside and gets launched up the stairs out of the building. God, that was funny.
Now, what's the dude? The Vietnam vets. He kept talking about little gremlins.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if they probably will never do it. But if they like made it all full circle, like they took some back in the day and then did experiments on it, because it is in Asia.
Yeah.
It was originally in Asia, so it makes sense that maybe they have some there or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different species of them there, but maybe they experimented on them. And like that would be an interesting one. Like if they did like his character in Vietnam and then did a whole thing how they experimented on gremlins in Vietnam. Like the Vietnamese had a secret laboratory where they experimented on gremlins. And then
that would be a good pitch.
He's like saving the day, but he like gets PTSD because of it, becomes an alcoholic.
Nobody believes him.
Nobody.
He's like the Russell K of the Gremlins world from Independence Day.
You know, back in the 80s, it seemed like Vietnam was so long ago.
Yeah.
Like but then like they had Rambo, you know,
Uh-huh.
and then they had that but like it feels like it's almost like as far as we are today from like Afghanistan and Iraq, even
Yeah.
though there's still troops on the ground.
Well,
Like
the
it
start of
feels
it
like it was
anyways.
like so much farther
Yeah.
when in the 80s.
Well, it's been almost what? How many years? Oh, God, it's been almost 20 years since we were there,
But like
which is crazy to
15
think
years,
about. Yeah.
15, 16 years.
It's been 15 years.
But like let's say Back to the Future. They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, they went way back." It was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and like 20 years ago, we're acting like that's very recent.
Right.
And I'm sitting there watching 20 years ago like it's a completely different world. I don't see the difference between 2000s and now, to tell you the truth.
No. Like, and I agree with you, because he jumped back from the 80s to they were in the 50s, right? 50s or 60s?
I think in the 50s, 60s, around that
55
age.
or something. Yeah.
Probably late 50s because his
Yeah.
parents were in their 40s. When all his parents
Yeah.
were probably had to be in their 50s
Yeah.
because they were old.
Yeah. So we're thinking. So I couldn't
But of
remember
course,
the number off
old
the top of my
back
head.
then
Yeah.
is young now.
Right. It's very different.
Because you look at some of the 50-year-olds nowadays, they look like they were 70 back in the 80s.
Right. So yeah, I mean, and you're right. And I guess I don't think about it too much, but like, so Marty goes back. I mean, we'll call it 30 years. We'll call it 30 years, right? But like, what was 30 years ago? Like, what was the big difference?
I mean,
How much of a difference is it?
socially there was a difference.
Yes, of
But
course.
like the aesthetic of things, like okay, they had 90s specific things.
Yeah.
They didn't have cell phones and stuff like that. But yeah, like the way people dress
Yeah.
is
Houses
not
were
like a t-shirt and jeans.
nobody was really doing open concept back then either.
Doing what?
Open concept houses and stuff.
But
You
like
had
if
hallways.
you've seen like a 50s diner, like what does a 90s diner look like? Does it look different than what we got now?
No, probably not that I can think of.
But if you go like
granted, McDonald's, Taco Bell, those places looked much different back in the 90s.
well, they made the design more slick. I prefer
Yeah.
the 90s Taco Bell though.
Sure, me too, with all like the squigglies and the green, yeah.
I prefer the 80s McDonald's where they had I remember when they used to have ashtrays
Yeah.
in the restaurant, like little McDonald's ashtrays and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to think about. And I've always read these like fun things about like Back to the Future, just going back to that movie in general, of how much so while this spans across, multiple decades, right? So he travels from the 80s to the 50s, back to the 80s to the 2030s or 2020s, 2030s, something like that.
Yeah, well, no.
And then back to the
No,
50s.
he went to 2020.
Yes, he did.
Or like
Okay,
2018.
something like
I was
that.
still living in Aurora
Mhm.
when they, and yeah, it was like 2020. It wasn't even that long. George Jetson was just born.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how they thought the 2020s would look.
Yeah.
It does not look like that.
But what's funny about his journey is that he goes across all these decades, and to everybody else, like all this time has passed, right? But for Marty, this all happens in the course of like a week, right?
Uh-huh.
It's always a funny concept to think of, like in a week, like all these things, but everybody else was living entire lives like around what was going on with him.
Uh-huh.
And it's, and the same thing they talk about with Ellen Ripley from the Alien series, right? So if you don't take her, so yeah, she was in cryosleep for all this time, but to her
Right.
concept of time, like movies 1, 2, 3, and 4 take place over about the course of a week for her. because she goes from alien, she goes into hypersleep, she wakes up, and then they send her right back to LV-421 in cryosleep. So like to her, it's been like, okay, like 2 days now. She fights more aliens, goes back into cryosleep, wakes up in Alien 3 on that prison planet, and then she's there for probably about a week or so, dies, gets brought back to life in Alien Resurrection, and does all that in a day. Like, I mean, less than 2 weeks, she had all this shit happen to her.
Yeah. Yeah, in her mind, like, we're looking at, oh, she's back, but it's like this is instant.
It spans over hundreds of years, but from her perspective, this happens in like 2 weeks worth of her life.
She doesn't get a break from the aliens.
No.
You know?
No. So it's always funny to read those kinds of things because you don't really think about it when you're watching the movies.
Right. Yeah. Well, Back to the Future 2, I usually watch on New Year's. I don't know why. It's been a thing.
Just one of those things. My grandparents, their movie was my grandparents and my parents. Their thing was always Ocean's 11, like the original. New Year's Eve, but I think it takes place on New Year's Eve too.
Oh,
I think I don't remember. It's been a long time since I saw the original. But you always got those movies that you watch on those days. Like I watched White Christmas on Christmas.
Oh, I don't know who watches that.
I'm sorry, I meant A Christmas Story.
I watch A Christmas Story.
I didn't mean White Christmas. Yeah, Christmas Story. That's the one I meant that we watch on Christmas. I know, you don't like White Christmas. We don't have to get into this.
I don't even understand how it's a Christmas movie.
White Christmas?
There's nothing Christmassy about it.
Like, everything is Christmassy about it.
No, it's not.
Yes.
They don't sing about Christmas. They sing about sisters.
Sing about snow?
And they're general.
Yeah, they're general, yeah. And they do a Christmas show.
It has nothing to do with Christmas.
They do a Christmas show at his ski lodge where it's snowing.
It's not like Christmassy.
It is Christmas. They're wearing Christmas outfits. He's dressed as Santa in one scene.
Well, yeah, like, it's not very Christmassy.
There's a sleigh.
It doesn't give me a Christmas feel.
I don't know. It's very much Christmas. I don't know.
It's not.
It's very much Christmas.
Why do they call it White Christmas?
Because they want a white Christmas. They're dreaming of a white Christmas.
I don't get it.
I like it. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
My wife was watching it because that's her favorite movie with her mom. And I wanted to walk in and be like, oh, you're watching Gay Christmas? But I couldn't because her mom was there. I used to sing one of those songs sometimes where I would just get like frustrated with life and be like, gee, I wish I was back in the army. I would just sing that sometimes. The song literally makes me nauseated. It's great. Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye. They're great. It's wonderful. I don't know. To each their own. To each their own, my friend. Before we go, Dark Souls is on sale. Dark Souls Remastered is on sale for $40. Mm-mm. May have to look into that. I don't know. It came out in 2018. I have Dark Souls 2 on my Xbox. I played that for a while. The first Dark Souls is remastered. Yeah. The second one was cool because you could, because if you were connected to the internet for it, you could see other people's, like, people would leave you messages and, like, warnings about things that were up ahead. Yeah, they do that in Elden Ring. Yeah. But some people would just mess with you. You can actually see their character. Them. Yeah. And then you can see where they die. You can watch their death. Oh, video games. Anyways, yeah, you ready to take us home? I'm ready for bed. Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Check out our live show if you're listening to this on Spotify. We hope you have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next time. Level up, guys.